Welcome back to the channel, guys. I'm Jesse with Kinetics High Performance, and today we're diving into a hot topic: how training differs between males and females. From biomechanics like Q angles to injury rates and even the menstrual cycle's impact, we're breaking it all down with science-backed insights. Plus, we'll tackle whether age matters more than gender when training. Now, if you're a coach, athlete, or just curious, stick around. This one's for you. That said, let's get into it. First, let's talk biology and biomechanics. Males and females have some key differences that affect training. On average, men have higher muscle mass and testosterone levels, which support greater strength and power output. Women, on the other hand, tend to have a higher percentage of body fat and less muscle mass, which can influence endurance and recovery. But it's not just muscles. Bone structure. That plays a big difference too. One major difference is the Q angle, or quadriceps angle, which is the angle formed by the femur relative to the pelvis. Women typically have a wider pelvis, leading to a larger Q angle, around 17 degrees compared to 12 degrees in men. This affects knee alignment and can make women more prone to certain injuries, which we'll cover soon. For training, this means women might need more focus on stabilizing muscles like the glutes to counterbalance that Q angle during exercises like squats or lunges. For men, training often emphasizes upper body strength due to higher testosterone and muscle distribution, while women might benefit from extra lower body stabilization work. But here's the kicker: these are only general trends. Individual variation, like genetics or training history, can outweigh these differences. Now, let's talk injuries. That Q angle we mentioned, it's a big player here. Women's wider Q angle increases stress on the knees, making them up to 4 times more likely to tear their ACL, according to a 2008 study in the American Journal of Sports Medicine. Female athletes, especially in sports like soccer and basketball, often face higher risks of knee injuries due to landing mechanics and pelvic alignment. Meanwhile, men are more likely to injure their shoulders or upper body, especially in contact sports or heavy lifting. A body of research supports the idea that male athletes, particularly in contact sports like rugby or movement pattern overloading sports like in baseball, they have a higher incidence of shoulder issues. So, programs should reflect this. Women might need more knee stabilization exercises, while men could benefit from shoulder mobility and rotator cuff work. But here's the deal: proper form and individualized training can reduce these risks for both genders. It's less about men versus women and more about addressing your body's unique needs. Alright, gentlemen, feel free to close out of the video now. Otherwise, let's tackle the menstrual cycle. Now, does it affect training? Short answer is yes, but it's not a deal breaker. The menstrual cycle has 4 phases: follicular, ovulation, luteal, and menstrual, and hormone fluctuations can influence performance. A 2024 systematic review found that while strength performance is generally stable across the cycle, the follicular phase, days 1 through 14, may be a particularly good time for heavy lifts or high-intensity workouts due to rising estrogen levels. In the luteal phase, days 15 to 28, progesterone rises, which can increase body temperature and perceived fatigue, potentially affecting endurance. However, other studies have shown no significant drop in strength performance across the cycle. So, while you might tweak training, like prioritizing recovery during the luteal phase, it's not a universal rule. Listen to your body and track your cycle to optimize your training. Coaches and athletes can use apps to track cycles and tailor workouts, but don't overcomplicate it. The data says most women can train consistently throughout their cycle with only minor adjustments. Now, here's the big question. Is gender the main factor, or is age more important when training? Spoiler alert, age often trumps gender. So, let's clarify. What do we mean by training age? It's not your chronological age, but the number of years you've been consistently training with a structured plan. The research overwhelmingly shows that this is the most critical factor in designing an effective program. A beginner athlete, whether male or female, primarily needs to focus on neuromuscular adaptation, which is just a fancy way of saying their brain needs to learn how to effectively use the muscles. Studies have found that novice lifters of both genders see rapid, similar increases in strength and muscle mass as their bodies are highly responsive to new stimuli. Their programs should prioritize fundamental movement patterns like squats and presses, with a focus on technique and gradual progression, not gender-specific exercises. An advanced athlete, on the other hand, requires a completely different approach. Years of training lead to a blunting of these initial gains, forcing coaches to get more creative with their programming. An experienced lifter's program needs to incorporate more comprehensive strategies like periodization, manipulating training volume and intensity over time to continue seeing progress. A female athlete with a decade of lifting experience will have more in common with an advanced male athlete in terms of training capacity and program needs than she would with a female who just started yesterday. The physiological adaptations built over years of consistent training, from stronger bones to more efficient muscular recruitment, are a far greater determinant of program design than generalized biological differences. So, let's bring it all together. Yes, there's a general biological and biomechanical difference between men and women, and a good coach will be aware of these. Things like a wider Q angle or hormone fluctuations can inform minor program adjustments, but they are not the central pillar of training design. The single most important factor for building a safe and effective training program is an individual's training age. A program for a beginner, male or female, is about building a solid foundation. A program for an elite athlete, male or female, is about refining performance and applying advanced principles. The best programs are never one size fits all. They are highly individualized, taking into account all the factors we've discussed, but giving the most weight to an athlete's unique history and experience. It's about training the person, not the gender. So, if you've learned anything from this video, give it a like. And if you want more quality information as it pertains to sport performance or fitness, subscribe now. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.